Welcome back. In this video, we're going to take a look at 8 habits that keep people in poverty and struggling financially. These habits are ones you must break to secure a prosperous future for yourself. Do you even know what kind of future you truly desire? It's always important to remember that you don't actually get to pick your future, but you do get to decide your habits, and those habits will shape your future. Now, clearly, there must be things we need to address because 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. But let's take a closer look at this data. As you can see here, people making under $50,000 a year, we have 75% of those people living paycheck to paycheck. But people making over $50,000 and under $100,000, 65% are still living paycheck to paycheck. And those making over $100,000 a year, 49% are still living paycheck to paycheck. It seems that, regardless of income level, we seem to develop some poor habits that prevent us from living within our means. We must take action now because the chains we impose upon ourselves through these habits may seem weak initially, but they eventually become burdens too heavy to bear later. So now is the time to rectify them. So let's get right into the habits keeping people struggling. I hope you find something of value in the video. If so, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, the first habit to break is paying yourself last. While most people aspire to have savings, an emergency fund, and a secure retirement, far too many people fail at prioritizing these goals. They may have good intentions, but they often fall into the habit of paying bills and indulging in their wants first, with the idea of saving whatever is left at the end of the month. To achieve financial stability, saving and investing and reducing debt must be your first priority. Allocate a portion of your paycheck towards these goals first, and then figure out how to live within the remaining budget. The second habit to break involves failing to plan for the worst. According to the Fed's 2022 Economic Well-Being of U.S. Households survey, 37% of Americans don't have enough money to cover a $400 emergency expense. And nearly 1 out of 5 people can only handle an expense less than $100. Too many people are not prepared for an unexpected expense. This is why an emergency fund is so important, because they protect us from falling into debt. We don't want to rely on credit cards, buy now, pay later plans, or other loans to cover unexpected expenses. It's essential to track your spending, know where your money is going, and have a plan in place. If you need assistance with doing this, I recommend checking out my video on the 50-30-20 budgeting rule. The third habit to break revolves around caring too much about what other people think. This condition has really exploded in the age of social media. We need to remember that the majority of people are bad with money, so why should their opinions matter so much to us? Many live in debt and fail to save enough for retirement. And appearances can be deceiving. I personally know people making over $250,000 a year, and yet they still live paycheck to paycheck. I once had someone making $400,000 a year share with me that if they just missed 2 months worth of work, they would go bankrupt. Others perceive them as wealthy due to their lavish lifestyle. Big house, nice cars, and vacations. However, they have little to no net worth at all. You simply can't gauge someone's financial security based on material possessions. Don't fall into the trap of trying to impress others through excessive spending. Our self-worth shouldn't come from things we own. True net worth and financial security are built by saving and investing wisely. When you see someone with nice things, all you can be certain of is that they have less money than they did before they bought those nice things. Their debt, whether it's from loans, credit cards, buy now, pay later plans, remains invisible. They might be drowning in debt to sustain that lifestyle. Instead of focusing on material possessions, consider the qualities and characteristics that truly matter in a person. Choose to prioritize your character and your goals, and less about the opinions of others. Some people are toxic to our well-being and happiness and our goals that are really important to us. If you have a healthy social circle, you shouldn't have to worry about impressing them. By breaking free from the desire to seek approval, we can focus on our own financial well-being and make choices that align with our long-term goals. Remember, true financial security is not achieved through material possessions, but rather it's achieved through the accumulation of wealth and the practices of prudent financial habits. The fourth habit to break is not thinking about the future. Nowadays, many people embrace the "you only live once" YOLO mentality, disregarding the importance of saving and investing for the future. This mindset uses our mortality as an excuse to make reckless money decisions. Failing to consider your future and falling victim to the constant barrage of marketing can lead us to using debt to fund a certain lifestyle. Saving and investing not only provide security and peace of mind, but they also grant you more freedom and control over your own life. Achieving financial freedom doesn't happen by accident. It requires deliberate and sustained effort, as well as long-term planning. Instead of viewing YOLO as a fleeting philosophy, consider embracing it as a lifelong concept. Make the most of your entire life, both now and in the future, by attaining financial freedom. Of course, this doesn't mean you have to eliminate all the fun and spontaneity out of your life. It's about finding the right balance within your budget and your life. By doing so, you'll have some disposable income for the occasional YOLO moments without derailing your financial goals. Exercise discipline and make conscious choices that align with your long-term goals. The fifth habit to break is being too comfortable with debt. A recent survey on retirement finances found that 71% of retirees are still carrying debt, not including their mortgage, and the average of that non-mortgage debt is almost $20,000. It's alarming that not only are people not saving enough for retirement, but they also enter retirement still burdened by debt. Society has trained us to remain broke and keep spending. We're even referred to as the American consumer. It has become far too normal to accumulate bad debt by buying things that depreciate in value. We must stop using buy now, pay later plans and credit cards to buy things we cannot afford up front. And we certainly should never finance things like furniture, jet skis, TVs, and so on, regardless of loan offers. We need to stop the impulse purchases and the silly ways we rationalize and tell ourselves it's okay. For more information about this and ways to control your spending, you might want to check out my video on buy now, pay later plans and controlling our spending. Living below your means and managing our take-home pay effectively should be our aim. The sixth habit to break is thinking that saving is enough. While getting a handle on your spending is vital, saving alone is just the first step. If you accumulate savings without putting it to work, it loses value over time due to inflation. It must be put to work as an investment. Those investments can grow into passive income that generates more money in your pocket. You simply can't save enough to ever create net worth or any kind of financial security. Here's a scenario that might really surprise you. Let's say someone starts earning $40,000 a year when they first turn 22. They get a 2% pay increase every year, and they decide to save 10% of their salary and invest it into something like the S&P 500, which has had an average compounded annual growth rate of around 10% over long periods of time. Now, when this person hits a retirement age of 67, their entire lifetime earnings would have been around $2.8 million. But that's not all theirs. All kinds of taxes have to come out of that. But since they were saving 10%, they saved around $287,000 of their own money over all of those years. However, since it was invested along the way, that money would have grown into over $3.5 million. Because they were putting their money to work, it grew into more money than they even made over their entire working career. And we were only saving 10% of every dollar we earned. This example highlights the power of compounded investments and the importance of increasing financial literacy to attain net worth and financial freedom. Don't allow the lack of knowledge to hinder your progress towards your goals. The seventh habit to break is lifestyle creep, or what we call lifestyle inflation. This occurs when our expenses increase in proportion to our income every time we get a raise, a bonus, or other income boost. We tend to reward ourselves with luxuries like a vacation, maybe a nicer car, bigger house. As our lifestyle expands, our expenses rise accordingly, often trapping us into a cycle of living paycheck to paycheck without even realizing it. Maybe every time our income increases, we could take half of it and use it to create more net worth, and then maybe take the other half to reward ourselves. The eighth habit to break is the blame game and making excuses. Making excuses makes today a little easier, but ultimately it makes tomorrow harder. On the other hand, practicing discipline and taking responsibility for our own actions makes today a little bit more challenging, but it sets us up for a better tomorrow. So decide what kind of future you want. It's a crippling mindset to constantly be looking to blame others for our life circumstances or make excuses for our behavior. Rather than looking for ways to improve ourselves, this mindset hinders our own personal growth. While there are undoubtedly factors beyond our control, it's important to focus on what we can control. If we always attribute our problems to society or other individuals, we convince ourselves that we can only improve our lives by changing others, which is an aspect we have no control over. By doing so, we strip ourselves of the power to make effective positive change in our own life. That's why knowing our goals and the person we aspire to become is crucial. We must ensure that our habits align with our goals and take responsibility for our actions. With that mindset, we can pursue our dreams, stay positive, and make progress towards a brighter future. Now, there are other habits we could discuss that have the potential to derail someone's financial future. Some examples could include gambling, using shopping as a recreational activity, becoming house poor, or overspending on vehicles. However, the 8 habits covered here are at the foundation of breaking free from the chains of financial struggle. Now, it's difficult to make changes overnight, and we certainly can't tackle all of these at once. But review the list and consider picking out 1 or 2 weaknesses and start working on them to become better. We all have areas of where we can improve. Remember to not leave your future up to chance or external forces. Make sure you shape it by developing positive habits and the choices you make today. Take control of your financial destiny and look forward to your future. Thank you for watching. If you found the content valuable, please show your support by hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and leaving questions or comments below. If you have suggestions for other important habits that could have been included, I'd enjoy hearing from you.